smoking too, sipping and roasting. Yeah, that's what we do. Set 'em up, knock 'em down, make that cherry glow. Whiskey and cigars, the gentleman's cologne.
Cheers, y'all. Sounds like a party just about to happen, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this fine radio program, podcast, and video extravaganza known internationally as the world-famous Smokin' and Toastin'. We're all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars, things we will discuss at length today, do a little tasting and sampling of some of those things. And today, we are now up to show number 416 of Smokin' and Toastin'. And we have... We've named today's show. You know, we give each show a name, which you, if you're listening to us on the radio, you probably don't have access to that. But if you're watching on video or, you know, checking out the podcast version, you'll see the title of the show. And today's title is The Ratings Spike.
That's right.
And that is because we welcome back to the show the Spikey FOTS.
Finally, the Spikey FOTS has returned to Smokin' and Toastin'.
And so explain to people what the Spikey FOTS means.
Well, because I'm a friend of the show,
right?
Which is a FOTS. And when I get on the show, the ratings spike.
I love it.
Guys, sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to say, officially, let's welcome back to the show one of our favorite guests, Mr. Alejandro Doxakis.
Alejandro. My friends call me Ali.
He just gets a different name every time.
Well, because if you remember, I think I called him Andrew one time.
And that was like after like my 25th appearance.
I have no idea where it came from. It was just out of nowhere. But it's Greg. It's Gregory Doxakis. And we just call him Dox, so that's why the first name doesn't quite click with me each time.
That's what it was.
So now you get a
new
new
one. He has one name, kind of like Cruz.
Yeah, exactly.
You tried to overachieve,
right?
Like a newbie, but you'll get this, man.
I'll get it. I'll get it. I'm hanging in there.
Can I say this before we get started here? I just want to say I really wanted to say how good it is to see you guys for the first time this year in a while.
Yeah,
but you both look terrible.
Good.
I see you brought your nurse in today. That's how bad you are. When I first saw you, I didn't know whether to shake your hand or check for a pulse.
Don Rickles on the show today there. Mr. Warmth. Oh, my goodness.
FOTS is back. You wonder why the ratings spike when he's on?
I'm looking at the shirt here. I see you recycled your old curtain.
Like the shirt? My grandfather, on his deathbed, sold me this shirt.
Oh, my God.
Absolutely love it.
This whole thing sounds like just a Friars Club roast from 1964.
That's right.
Well, let me recognize before they drop us that this radio program is heard on fine radio stations all over the world, like AM 990 WGSO in New Orleans, Louisiana. Hello, Nolens. Yeah, again, wanted to throw that out there because the way we're starting off, this could be our last show in New Orleans. That's entirely possible. We are excited, actually, to have Dox back on the show. Dox always brings lovely and wonderful gifts, which is one of the reasons we have learned to like him or tolerate him, whichever the case may be. But Dox is with Planteray rum, and he's brought several, I think, special Planterays. Have you not?
Very special rums. These are going to be 4 hand selections for our own beloved local Specs spirits and wine. The only place you can find that in the area is going to be at your neighborhood Spec store.
Okay.
I love if I see an offering and then right next to it you see the
Specs barrel pick or
the
whatever.
barrel pick. Yeah. It doesn't even have to be Specs, but if you see a barrel pick from a particular place, I'm almost always going to try the barrel pick.
Yeah, well, it's
going to be a little more unique.
Right,
you know?
exactly. And so we're excited
it gives it a little bit something.
We've already established that we like your rums. So this is a good chance to take a peek into some of the
I have a little bit of a collection myself, but Isle of Fiji is always on my shelf.
Right, and you have the Isle of Fiji because I provided that for you, did I not?
Well,
you did good for me. I know. I'm still enjoying
We're quite a few bottles past that one.
Yeah. I think the reason I bring that up is because Docs at one point brought me sent me a bottle of Isle of Fiji when it came out to use on the show, and it never made it to the show.
No.
So then I went out and bought another one to have on the show, and then for some reason Ian seemed to think he was supposed to take that home.
Oh, okay.
And seems to feel like he was somehow slighted or shorted
Man,
on the Isle of Fiji.
you know, it's not just millennials who are entitled these days.
That's true. That's good.
Well, when it comes to Isle of Fiji, I mean, you're going to want it.
It's good
So
stuff.
if you kids at home, the moral of the story is you steal one bottle of rum and you could be labeled for life.
That's right. That's right. I've yet to be forgiven. So
That's why there's a pirate on a lot of runs.
it does make sense. It does. So I do want to thank our special guests from last week, Robin Glaw and Zachary Hiller from B.O.R.I.S Distilling. And
Oh, that
speaking
was
of
so
barrel
fun.
picks, we're in discussions with B.O.R.I.S about doing a smoking and toasting barrel pick.
Exciting.
We're pretty psyched about it. So we'll bring you guys the details as we can. On today's program, not only are we talking rum and perhaps some other things with our good friend Docs, but we'll be tasting some beers from Conroe, Texas, and the B52 Brewing Company. We'll taste their Cerveza, Mexican-style lager. And since I thought, since this is the week we got snow in Houston, that it would be perfect time to do a summary Mexican lager to help us, just kind of think about what's to come. Don't
Something
concentrate
to get past the heat of your heater blowing in your face.
That's right. Don't concentrate on what's here.
Try and keep up with
Concentrate
the cold.
on what's to come. Chicago, Illinois has a very interesting craft brewery called Hop Butcher for the World. And Hop Butcher for the World has a Tavern Cut double IPA that we'll be tasting on today's show.
Tavern gut?
Tavern Cut.
Oh, cut. Okay.
Yeah, Tavern Cut. And then finally from Akron, Ohio, the return of the Hoppin Frog Brewery to the show.
Yeah.
And we'll be tasting their barrel-aged B.O.R.I.S, B.O.R.I.S, which stands for, I think it's barrel something Imperial Stout.
There you go.
We'll figure it out when we get to the can. But anyway, it's an oatmeal Imperial Stout. So,
Barrel OR Imperial Stout.
yeah,
Gotcha.
Yeah, barrel something Imperial Stout. And, of course, Rums from Docs and Planteray. We'll be bringing you drinking news and our normal drinking fact, our drinking news teaser headline for today. You grab the loot, I'll distract them. And we'll be also bringing you a drinking fact. In fact, we'll do that here in just a moment. Our drinking fact teaser for today is space, the final frontier.
Oh, Captain Kirk.
Yeah, so I've always wanted to say that on the radio, so now I have.
I once got
Childhood dream come true.
in 8th grade. In Miss Zook's class at St. Cecilia's, just down the street, I got a detention. And I didn't get a lot of detentions in class, but I got a detention for saying that in class. That was
For saying
exactly
space, the final frontier?
Yes, it was everybody.
Oh, come on.
It was so quiet, and she put on some sort of. It was they wheeled in the AV kit, and it was the TV on top of the VCR, and they started showing us about space. And as soon as they got into that first thing, that was what the whole class was quiet, and I said space. The final frontier.
And you got
I got a detention for that.
Yeah, and not only that, it was topical because probably the first season of Star Trek also.
None of us
Back in 1968. Yeah.
None of us here are wearing red shirts except for Miss Mary.
Yeah, so that's right. You're in trouble. You're in trouble. You go ahead of us.
No, you go ahead. Yeah.
I didn't get detention that many times when I was in school, but one that I distinctly remember getting detention for was when I guess I must have been talking to the person I was sitting next to. Imagine that. And the teacher looked at me and said, "Would you like to get up here and teach the class?" And I was like, "Sure." So I got up and began to teach the class, and apparently the teacher wasn't serious about this offer. It wasn't an actual offer. So
She asked.
yeah, she asked. So you ready to do a little drinking fact? Let's do it.
Okay, we're going to do it. And now it's time for another smoking and toasting drinking fact.
The greatest fanfare of all
That's a beautiful
time.
thing.
It's just so thank you. Totally deserves.
You can't hear hear that.
Is that new? I love that.
That's awesome.
I want that to follow me around when I walk into a room.
That's the only reason we're still doing the drinking fact. These ceased to be interesting like months ago.
You know,
but the fanfare is just too good.
They should have played that for everyone that walked into the inauguration today.
Oh yeah,
That's what.
there you go. The next senator walks in. Vice president walks in.
Exactly.
Our drinking fact for today, keeping with our spacefaring theme, there are unfathomably large clouds of alcohol in space. 25,000 light years from Earth and 150 light years across. Massive molecular cloud Sagittarius B2 contains an estimated 10 billion lines of ethyl and methyl alcohol. Or liters, I'm sorry. I read it wrong. 10 billion liters of ethyl and methyl alcohol. Not suitable for drinking, unfortunately, but it's out there.
Wow.
I'm just saying, yeah.
So it's White Claw.
Yeah.
Can we get that fanfare?
Please, we need it for that. There you go. Today's drinking fact. Speaking of
this show will not go off the rails because it never got on them.
No.
Speaking of White Claw, I think we have just enough time left to try today's beverage of mystery.
And also, I want to say that was not that big of news because there's been a big cloud of alcohol following this Sagittarius around for quite a long time.
But you know,
I need a rim shot for this episode.
Beverage of mystery. The fanfare will have to serve as our rim
It smells
shots.
like perfume.
Yeah. So, beverage of mystery today.
Oh, it does have a lovely smell. Like
Has a
Smells like perfume.
if I walked into my house and it smelled like this, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it.
Like a Glade freshener smell.
No, what it reminds me
it
of is
tastes
that
kind of
stuff.
like perfume too.
Remember when you used to sprinkle that stuff on your carpet before you would vacuum?
Yeah.
I forget what that was
Fresh.
called. Carpet fresh.
Carpet
yeah.
fresh.
Yeah. Is that even around anymore?
They do have different kinds.
Okay.
Yes, I've
They
used
do,
some.
but now
yeah.
you vape it. You don't sprinkle it around.
or you include it in the beverage of mystery. What are we thinking about this, Ian? You've tasted.
I don't want to.
Is that
This
peach?
is not good. Okay, so there's one positive. It's not sweet.
True.
Okay.
So
Like-
there's no sweet
And
aftertaste.
It's not only peach,
So-
but it's almost like peach pit, like that.
Doesn't
the
have
taste
that
of the
sticky
seed, right?
aftertaste, but it is way too perfumey.
It's like body lotion.
It's like it's
Like it's
Body
so
lotion.
it's very much one of those just hard it
Axe
tastes like a regular
body
seltzer.
spray.
I mean, you don't taste the alcohol in
Yeah,
it, so it tastes like a regular carbonated water that had a splash of peach in it.
Do you have a question
and
for me, sir?
perfume. This is the part of the show we like to call, is that a beverage of mystery in your pocket, or are you just happy to see us?
Well, I'm very happy to see you, especially Docs. But
So-
but yes, the slightly crumpled can is our beverage of mystery can. You gentlemen are drinking a HI seltzer, a THC infused peach seltzer.
I was just about to say, and no offense to our good friends at Hi,
Hi.
the finish on this is like standing next to someone in line at the bank who just smoked a skunky blunt. Skunky blunt. It's and the that certain level of bad weed going around that just smells like a skunk. That kind of thing.
Skunk weed. Yeah,
That is the finish on that. The nose, it's as you guys put it, it's not my favorite nose, but the first sip, it was not bad. But then as it mellowed on the tongue a little bit, I was like, bro, did you just smoke one?
yeah. So why do they have such a hard time making these really appealing? You know what I mean? It seems like a wonderful idea.
Like Ninth Wonders one,
Right.
The lime one. I like it. It's there's actually almost practically no odor to it. The aroma is very subtle. It tastes like drinking like one of those nice I don't know what you call it, one of those brand name like a Waterloo lime.
Right.
Fizzy water.
Yeah, and just one will do me. It just kind of gets me a little mellow.
Mellows, yeah.
I like the Ninth Wonder one.
All right. We're going to get mellow during the commercial break, and we will be back to find out about Ian's cigar for this week. This is Smoking and Toasting. We will return. Welcome back, my friends. This is Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits and hand-rolled cigars. Speaking of cigars, Rocky Patel's latest creation is Rocky Patel Emerald, which went out to retailers just before Christmas. So you can find it now. It's a 3-size line box-pressed cigar that Rocky says is a little less intense than most of the others in his vast portfolio. It's the first box-pressed cigar we've released that's on the light side of medium, he said. Most of our box-pressed cigars are medium to full. So if you're somebody who is, enjoys cigars on the lighter side, that might be something to look for, because Rocky does amazing blending, and his stuff is always of a certain quality. It's got green and white bands. About half the cigar is wrapped in a bright green piece of paper, and they come packaged in boxes of 20. So I haven't tried it, but we'll try it soon enough. I'm sure you tried something this week. What did you smoke?
I did. I actually, since we're doing the show a little later today than we have been, I actually stopped by Casa and picked up something new and fresh and jazzy. By a little-known blender who's been making, small waves in the industry. A guy named AJ Fernandez.
Oh, I've heard of him.
Right.
Yeah. So you smoked an AJ cigar. I'm very
I
excited.
did. It's the 20th anniversary.
Oh.
This is a Toro coming in at 6x56. This is a Nicaraguan Puro.
So it's an AJ Fernandez 20th anniversary.
Yes.
Okay. I don't think I've had
AJ
this.
Fernandez 20th anniversary. This has 2 bands on it. One of them says 20th, one of them says AJ Fernandez, and then it has a cedar wrap. And this combination of all 3 covers about 75% of the gorgeous espresso brown wrapper. When you pull off that cedar wrap, super smooth and leathery with some oil and veins, firm feel overall. Pre-light sniff on this. Cedar and earth, chocolate, and a gentle nuttiness. The pre-light draw on this, I used a V cut. It had a very easy draw, sweet, creamy coffee, mocha, earth, and cedar, a little bit of leather on the lips. The initial light on this.
Oh, here we go.
MPB makes me feel fine. Definitely.
The NPB is the Nicaraguan pepper blast.
Definitely a Nicaraguan pepper blast coming through on this. With a touch of sweetness, though. It was like a Nicaraguan pepper blast with a little kiss on the end. Nutty and spicy. Retrohale is peppery and woody. The Retrohale, if you're not used to doing that, it will burn your nose just a little bit.
Yeah.
A little wasabi burn kind of thing going on there. The first third of the cigar, sweet and peppery, nutty, and a kiss of citrus fruit. Woody with a bit of pretzel bread, even massive mouthfuls of smoke, just begging for smoke rings, and they did it very well. The Retrohale is peppery and sweet cedar with a touch of gritty mocha, solid ash, perfect burn. Proposed pairing, wild turkey.
No kidding.
Yeah, you need something big and sweet with this
That is
cigar.
so interesting
Otherwise,
that you say
it's just the cigar is gonna bury what you're drinking with. Maybe an old fashioned, something like that.
Remember that, folks.
The second third of this, more cedar with a little bit of a pencil sharpener kind of note, but in kind of a good way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that cedary smell when you're.
I like that cedary smell.
When you're sharpening a pencil, the mocha turns almost brownie sweet, and the pretzel turns a little more into like dark bread. A savory, meaty bouillon note sneaks in just underneath the more obvious flavors. Retrohale is cedar and pepper with a touch of gritty mocha, solid ash, a little bit uneven burn there. The last third of this cigar, sweet and spicy with a meaty undertone, light citrus notes on the finish. Retrohale is sweet cedar and pepper with a gritty mocha, solid ash, good burn. The burn straightened itself right out. I didn't even touch it. This cigar is $25.
Oh, that's expensive for an AJ.
It's a very expensive AJ. Solid 5. It was fantastic.
Worth the $25.
$25. Wow. If you're going to have a $25 cigar, it needs to be this kind of good.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like this is up there with the Plasencia Almafuerte. This is up there with
so
the
that's what you're
Padron
talking
Anniversarios.
And so this is the 20th?
The 20th anniversary.
AJ Fernandez 20th
pick
anniversary.
one up.
So I have not seen this,
Treat
but I will
yourself
be
to this one.
Yeah, I will be treating myself.
My choice today at the cigar shop was buy 2 or 3 cigars,
or buy that one,
or buy this one.
See, that does happen. I understand this, and sometimes you have to ask yourself,
and mostly,
is it worth that?
Mostly, I wasn't even necessarily going to go for the AJ Fernandez, but I figured it would make you jealous since you haven't had this.
You
one.
have made me completely jealous.
That's why.
And it worked. It worked like a charm. Well, I'll tell you about my cigar when we come back, and we're also going to get into some rum tasting here in a few moments, as Dox has brought along with him some barrel pick special selections.
I want to hear more about Ian's Nicaraguan Indicus. That that sound like
the pepper blast with a kiss.
That's it. Okay.
With a sweet kiss, yes.
Yeah,
A little bit of a sweet kiss.
it sounds like a song, but maybe like an original song, not a remake of a really
Sounds like something.
bad Seals and Crofts song.
I was just thinking the Prince song, Kiss, and that way Ian can go, Kiss!
You don't
I have to
have
get
to
this Discord in
be
here.
big.
Boom.
I like
That's exactly right.
it. I like it. Works for
Think
me.
about a dance now.
Think about a smoke now. All right, we're going to take a break before this goes further off the rails than it already is, and we'll be right back. It's Smoking Toast. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program's all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. In our last segment, while Ian was talking about the cigar that he smoked this week, I noticed Doc's opened up one of the bottles of rum here, and I thought, oh, good, he's going to go ahead and pour, so we'll be nice and ready. But apparently, he only poured for himself.
He poured himself something.
Yeah, so...
this reminds me of, you remember the old cartoons where the dog would unbury someone from the snow, but he had a little barrel around his neck. You know?
Yeah. The
He'd
little
unbury someone from the
he
snow.
make himself a
and
martini.
Make some cocktail and drink it himself. And then,
That's kind of what that's like.
That's what Docs just did.
Well, I'm very excited
St.
because
Bernard there.
I was going over my notes.
right.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you were tasting it just to make sure. Okay, we don't want to bring this bottle on the show and then have it be awful, right? So let me taste it, make sure it's not awful before the rest of the show.
Good sir, are you implying that the Planteray Rum Company of Maison Ferrand, located in Cognac, France, would do a pour rum?
It could happen. I've yet to have it happen. But Ian, you remember when we had the guys on the first time we had the guys on from one of our absolute favorite breweries in the world, the Lone Pint Brewery.
Yes.
And they brought on the master brewer brought on a number of different things, including one that we drank and said, yeah, I don't know if I like this as much. And he's like, yeah, we didn't like this one at all. Like he totally brought it on just.
I think he
Just
was
to
kind of
see.
punked us.
I think he just wanted to see.
I think he wanted to see if we'd like kiss his butt and go, oh, this is great. This is the greatest ever. We were like, yeah, I don't think I like this as much as we're trying to be nice.
Yeah, exactly.
But still, right? Yeah. Well, while Docs is pouring and we're distributing these first tastes
This has
of
a
Planteray
delightful
rum
amount of funk on the nose.
I'll tell you about what I smoked this week while we're doing that. When I first started, this week I smoked the CAO Fasa Noche Gigante. And when I first started getting into cigars, CAO was actually one of my absolute favorite brands. This was back in the day before the Osgener family sold the cigar line, and it eventually became the property of Scandinavian Tobacco Group. When it did, the cigars, well, they kind of fell off, for lack of a better way to describe it. They weren't actually bad. They just kind of lost their edge, became also rans, I guess, in the cigar industry. I switched to other brands and didn't really look back. But over the next few years that followed, Scandinavian Tobacco really kind of righted the ship. The CAO Flathead line was a big step into this, putting out some of the company's best
The
cigars.
Flathead
in
line was
several
the
years.
first one they had where I would
Kind of
consider them coming back.
Bringing them back to respectability. So I was really curious to try a CAO's new line, the Fasa Noche, which came out last April. They are only two sizes in the line, a Toro and a Gordo, which they call the Gigante, which is the one that I smoked. And it's a 6x60 rolled in Nicaragua with a dark, almost Oscuro-looking Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, a Cameroon binder, and filler from the Dominican Republic and from the Condega, Esteli, and Jalapa Valley regions of Nicaragua.
That sounds delicious.
Fasa Noche, by the way, means night phase in Spanish. And that got me to thinking how much worse off we would be today as a society if Bob Seger had written and recorded Night Phase instead of Night Moves back in the 70s. It just wouldn't, somehow we would have missed out on something, I feel. But anyway,
There's
that's
that.
not important right now. Bands on the cigar are very minimalist, black and white with a moon-shaped cutout portion that lets the dark tobacco show through. The pre-light sniff and cold draw were all about earth and a slightly pungent barnyard note, which may not sound pleasant, but it really was.
It's a very natural.
Yeah, I lit the Fasa Noche up, and while I did not get a Nicaraguan pepper blast, I did get a nice, bold, and almost full-bodied mix of flavors right at the get-go. Black pepper, although not too strong, dried fruit, earth, and a sweetness that balanced the pepper also came through from the very beginning. Construction seemed good, although the ash, perhaps thinking that I was Ian, dropped off onto my shirt about an inch in. Still, I didn't notice any major burn issues. By the second third, cigar calmed down a little bit in strength. An oaky wood vibe became the dominant note, accompanied by raisin, a sweet undertone, and more black pepper. Last third gave me a little more chocolate, some zesty spice, and more dried fruit, but the oak note and the sweetness were what dominated, with black pepper on the retro hell. Construction held out well, and the overall strength was a notch over medium bodied. Gigante size lasted for about an hour and a half, and the overall smoking experience was quite good. Recommended pairings. It worked really well with my iced Bigelow salted caramel tea, but I also felt like it would pair up well with a nice peated scotch, like a Lagavulin 16. Or if you don't do the peated thing, or if that's too pricey for your taste, maybe just a basic bourbon. And I'm reading this from my notes. Even Wild Turkey 101 seems like a nice match, or even an espresso. Overall, even while Tim Osdiner, the son of the late CAO founder Conroe Osdiner, has gone on to start his own line of cigars, which are really good, by the way, it does seem like maybe the CAO brand has gotten its mojo back. And I have saved the best part for last. The CAO Fasa Noche, even in the Gigante or Gordo size, sells for about $7.
Really?
That makes this a much bigger deal than if it were north of $10. I liked it. I will smoke more, although I'll probably move down to the Toro size instead of this bigger size. But I absolutely loved it. Price to quality, a 6.5.
For those of you not familiar with our price to quality scale, this is a scale from 1 to 10.
Yeah.
If you get a 5, you get exactly what you're paying for. If you score above that, it's punching above its weight class a little bit.
Right.
If it scores under, maybe it's still a good cigar. Maybe not, but it wasn't worth the price you paid.
So, it definitely, this one was definitely.
Yeah, I was interested in the score when you said that it was $7.
Yeah.
After you were saying such good things about
price,
it.
You can't beat it.
You know, they made that comeback with the flathead. They then followed it up with they had 2 cigars that were very successful for them. The Session, which I was not as big a fan of, however, is very popular, and then the Bones, which I really did enjoy.
And they've got an Amazon Basin one that comes out with that really weird little band around it.
Oh, yeah.
It's also very, very, very good, but that's a little pricier. So we're drinking, or we're about to drink, I should say.
They still do the Triple Maduro, which is quite good.
Yes, some Planteray rum, which I noticed it was called Land Selection 12, which made me immediately think of Billy Bob Thornton and Landman. And I wondered if this, what does land selection mean when it comes to rum?
What is Landman?
It's a show on Hulu.
You don't know? No, it's on Apple TV.
Oh, Apple TV?
You don't know about Landman?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. Taylor Sheridan, who did Yellowstone and all the
no,
others.
it's just that.
Oh, no. Really?
Really
wow.
Wow.
I officially swore off Yellowstone on season 4 when the woman says, and order me a skinny Tito's margarita. Well, I don't even know where to begin to say what's wrong with that.
Well,
it's just nonsense. I can't. I just can't.
You can maybe appreciate then some of the dialogue in Landman where Billy Bob Thornton's character, who's apparently a former alcoholic and now is, on the wagon, drinks Michelob Ultra because, as he says, it's not alcohol. Doesn't even qualify.
Yep. Yes, yeah.
And I have to go along with that.
That sounds like a Taylor Sheridan keeper.
Yeah.
So anyway.
All right. So what are we drinking here?
This is the Planteray Land Selection 12-year. Now, normally I would have ended with this one, but I'm going to start with it.
Wow, this is bold then.
It's big. It's bold.
It is.
It's so many different things because I think the reason why I wanted to share this one because again this really demonstrates the good practices that we've always done in cognac that we've tried to bring to rum. It's going to go all over the place with this because this is going to be a selection of 5 countries. We've had multi-island blends, but we've never done something as ambitious as this with 5 countries and some of them being landlocked. That's why not multi-island. But this is going to be a majority of Trinidad, I think about 45%. And then we're going to pepper the rest off with some Panama, some Barbados, some Fiji. I got to cheat. I'm sorry, guys. I have to cheat. Australia. There's one more, Guyana. And every single one of those rums brings something different to the party. And this one, I like what we do with our OFTD, I like to encourage people to smell it a few times before you actually taste it.
Sure.
Because you're going to get something different every time.
There's a beautiful funk on the nose.
Well, I thought on the nose it actually reminded me of like a cognac. It had some of the same, just qualities to it. It doesn't once you taste it though. Once you taste it, it's all rum.
I get just a touch of funk on the nose.
Well, that's going to be from
a little bit of the rubber as well, which I think is. Is that Jamaican?
I always
Yes.
think of Jamaica.
And there is Jamaican rum in this also. And of course, guys know the Jamaican rum is always going to be a very prevalent flavor profile, being that it's such a bold one. But this one, what I like about it is that it's like reading this great book. You just get more into it. The more you want of it, the more you learn from it.
It evaporates.
Oh, well, no, I was going to say it was very good. I have to say, I don't consider myself much of a rum drinker, especially just a rum sipper, but this was...
We've been converting you slowly but surely since you've come on the show.
That's amazing.
So what I meant about the whole cognac process is this is a blend, and as you've heard me say many times, the art of cognac is the blend itself.
Sure.
And we've also got a healthier bit of dosage on this one than we typically do with our single casks.
Interesting.
We're doing 50 grams per liter of dosage, and that's the sucre de toste. That's that toasted sugar that we use sparingly in cognacs and some rums to bring out other flavors and kind of take the mini flavors here and just tape them all together, or I should say just gel them all together, make what the French would say a better fondue, better melt. So
are there like purists who think that any dosage at all is a bad thing or a bad idea?
There are people that think that, but purist is not the superlative I would use.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, I'll put it this way. A purist tells you what they like. A fastest tells you what you have to like.
And that's all I'm there you go. I like that.
Well, the thing about Planteray is we believe in a few things, and one of them is transparency for sure. We want to be very transparent about our rums. You'll find all the information I'm talking about on the back of the label, like you most of our rums.
The percentage of the dosage that's been used.
That's
color on that rum too. It's so dark.
You know what I like best about this rum?
It's yours.
The flavor. The taste.
Yes.
The way it drinks.
Agreed. 100%.
It's absolutely delicious. I pick up so much like of a cinnamony sugar lingering on the palate after you swallow. It's not even really the finish. It's almost more like mid palate. Yeah. But it stays there.
The sweetness happens right in the mid palate. It's interesting because it hits the front of the palate with a burst of flavor and a burst of spice, and then it has a sweetness right behind it, and then the finish to me is where actually you get some of the funkier notes that I dearly love in the rum.
What is the ABV on this?
The ABV is 46.3.
46. So it's not like heavily overproofed. It's just but it doesn't give you a big like strong afterburn.
Very little,
which lets you kind of concentrate on those mid-palate flavors that are still on your tongue.
I think anything under 100 is
a little
not going to
dryness, like a woody note to the finish too. That like after you've taken a while and you don't have any more left in your glass, you start to notice that there's a little drying happening.
I've noticed that both Ian and Terry have made a big deal out of the fact that their glasses are somewhat empty.
Here you go, hockey puck. All right.
Oh, well, since you are.
Don't mind if he does.
No, we have 3 other rums and a gin to try here. All right.
Hey, when something's good, it's good.
This is where you said you were going to end with this, but you started with something that was
when you
very,
lead with something this strong, you got to understand we're going to be pretty excited about it.
That is really good
Docs,
stuff.
what is this going to retail for at Specs?
I got some more to show. This one I think is like 60, 65, and don't quote me on that because I don't have the price right in front of me. But they're not too terribly expensive. They're obviously not going to be a value rum. These are some rare rums and some aged rums.
But it's
nothing too crazy.
It's easy for like barrel pick, rums to start out in the $100 range and even go higher than that, isn't it?
They can. Honestly, the 2 things are going to count on that one. One is going to do proof, and the other one is going to be how old it is. That's the 2 most expensive things about producing a spirit is time and all the alcohol content. That's going to jack up the price every time.
Sure. And to me, rum is one of those things that I generally speaking, I don't like the really super overproofed rums that I've had quite as much as I like things that are more in this range. and just because they seem harsher, they seem just like that alcohol content to me mutes the flavor a little bit. Is there something to what I'm saying, or am I just...
No. Well, listen, it's all in the palate of the consumer, I suppose. But for me personally, I also right at a little bit under 100 is my ceiling too. We've done some really nice ones, and like the Extreme series that we've done, which have gotten as high as 130 something proof. It's not my bag. But we have so many, especially the bourbon drinkers now, that are started into the George T. Staggs and whatnot of the world that they like a bolder, higher proof spirit. Not bad in my opinion, but just not my thing. This is probably my ceiling of proof as well.
Right, so this is kind of right in your sweet spot, you would say.
Absolutely.
I think it's absolutely fabulous. And we have, as you said, 3 other rums and a gin to try. And we have beers, which we'll get to in
much wood in the aftertaste. I absolutely love the aftertaste on this.
I thought you were going to mention so much of a challenge and you were up for it. Is that, that's kind of what I thought you would say.
That goes
But you're absolutely right. This is, and what you said earlier, the more you sip this, the more it kind of opens itself up, the more flavors that you begin to kind of discern in there. So it's a wonderful rum for people who are looking to learn how to identify flavors in different spirits. This one will give you
perfect rum for the adventurer.
This will give you a lot to take on your adventure. All right, it is Smoking and Toasting. We got a lot to do yet on the program, so we'll be back to do some more of that. Stay with us. See, I like that. It was almost like they were offsetting each other in some wonderful way. Welcome back. It is Smoking and Toasting, show number 416. We're all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. My name is Cruz. My co-host is Ian Barry.
Howdy, y'all.
On the Wheels of Steel, Mr. Terry Michaels, and our special guest this week, Mr. Vladimir Doxakis. We are so glad to have you on the program.
It's good to be being here. Do you think
It's very good. So we always
clash in names right there.
We always, yes, it is, isn't it? We always love having Dox on the show, and not just because of his, winning personality, although there is that. But we also love what he brings wit. And today he's bringing some really excellent and interesting rums. And so while he pours those, Ian has already poured our next beer. And so let's get to the beer first.
Yeah, that's how my wife described me to her parents when they first met me. It's like,
he always brings
he's not much to look at, but he's witty and he brings rum.
And the parents were like, way better than that last guy that you brought home for us to meet. So there you go. All right. So we're passing around drinks, which we're known to do here on the program. But before we try this next rum, we're going to try this first this first beer.
The B52
Ian,
Brewing Cerveza.
Yeah, this is from Conroe, Texas. So these guys are just a little north of our studio
Mexican
here.
style lager with lime and salt.
Mm-hmm. So very interesting, because apparently the lime and salt is already in here, so you don't have to sacrifice a lime of your own for this beverage.
Yeah, before I taste this, I want to say how great it is that these guys are still chugging along.
Yeah, you could say that for really just about any of the local area breweries, but B52 is...
We've seen a lot come and go.
I'm saying any of them that are still chugging along, we're proud of them.
But these guys, I mean, they've been doing some good beers for, they were some of the first to do it, and I think they've always done quality stuff.
Yeah.
Mexican style lager brewed with barley, corn, and rye, conditioned on lime and a dash of sea salt to create an incredibly refreshing and vibrant lager made for fiesta.
I will say I've already sampled this, and it is very refreshing. It is just really easy and fun on the palate.
So you're saying this is specifically made for fiestas?
Mm-hmm.
When they said with the addition of lime, I was not expecting to like it, but I actually do.
Yeah,
it's pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
And that little kiss of lime and salt on the aftertaste is very nice.
Now, I grew up around in and around the San Antonio area, and Fiesta there is a really big deal. It's like the big annual, throwdown that everybody goes to, and there's always bands. I remember
lots of metal bands in San Antonio.
Well, I remember going to Fiesta one year, and Blue Oyster Cult was playing, and this is before the more cowbell skit on Saturday Night Live. But what I loved is when they did Godzilla, some dude in the audience brought out this huge inflatable Godzilla, and he was just shaking it like crazy.
Nice.
That's a real fan right there.
Nice.
You got to love that.
Go Godzilla.
But yeah, I could see them drinking this in San Antonio for Fiesta. and putting away lots and lots and lots of this because it's really good.
Is it weird now that I want to see a mariachi brand do like Don't Fear the Reaper or Godzilla?
Well, we don't have that on the show, unfortunately, but I will give something away is that later Ian on the ukulele will be playing a little Beatles for us. So
Ooh.
very excited about this. That'll be coming up in Drinking News in the
Crazy kids in your loud rock and roll
second
music.
hour of the show. Do love this.
Long hair.
It's just, I mean, it's not that complicated. It's just
pretty
super
nice,
refreshing.
Yes. Yes. Very nice. Very nice.
I'll say this.
Digging it.
I could tell
2%.
that if this thing got, I love it now that's ice cold. Mm-hmm. If this thing was any temperature
Other than ice
higher,
cold.
Okay.
I would hate it.
Okay.
I totally agree with
So
you.
I
on
would
that.
want
get
to keep
that.
this one as ice cold as possible.
I
while I'm
totally
drinking.
agree with you on that.
Straight
If
out
a
of the
splash
ice.
left in here. I'm
Straight out
going
of
to
the
set
ice.
it to the side and put this to the test.
And we'll put that to the test later on. Okay, fair enough. While we're doing that, Dox has poured our second rum, and I can already tell it is a couple of shades lighter in color than our first one was.
Yes.
You're not wrong.
It's a little more straw colored,
And it's
this
from one
is-
of your favorites?
This is a Jamaican rum. See, I love Jamaican rums, even though they are funky.
So funky.
Yeah. But as we're fond of saying here on the program, we want the funk.
We want the funk.
Kind of have the
We
funk.
gotta have that funk.
Gotta have
Yeah.
the funk.
So hopefully this will deliver.
Man,
Oh, and I can tell from the nose it
Just on the
does.
nose, this is not phoning it out.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So, guys, this is about as Jamaican gets. This is a pot still rum, which just traditionally is going
Oh
to be.
my goodness.
Yeah, this is a rum that not only isn't phoning it in, it came to the Blue Oyster Cult
has
with the inflatable Godzilla. That's how committed it is.
right.
So let's talk about that funk for a moment.
It has this beautiful, almost tobacco note to it.
It really does. Yes.
It's
It
absolutely gorgeous.
and you know, a lot of times the funkier rums, I wonder if they would go as well with a cigar, but this one just instantly, I want a cigar.
This one
tasting
tastes a bit like a cigar to go with already. Like this is so good.
Fellas, I honestly thought of y'all when I tasted this one for the first time. I did. So let's talk about funk just for a moment and just a quick catch up on 101 on what brings that funk to Jamaica, and as we call it, the hogo. Typically, it's
The hogo? What
The hogo.
does that stand for?
Hogo. Oh my God! It's actually, believe it or not, I believe it's a French. God, I must say this so wrong. There's someone there in France going, "You're saying it wrong." Hautgaut, but we call it hogo for short, and it's the thing about Jamaican rum is that historically speaking, we're talking pot stills. But no, scratch that. Long fermentation. Really long fermentation. Some of the rums that we tried there from the land selection that we'll try from the other ones, we're talking 2 or 3 days, maybe a week. This one is a full week at the minimum, and that's a super long. These Jamaican rums can be sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks of fermentation, right? But other things adding to it. Am I getting played off?
No,
Yes.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
you got
Well,
a
thank
few
the
seconds to
Academy.
finish your,
Yeah. Okay,
We
Meryl
did it, baby.
Streep, wrap it up.
So this is it's an extra long fermentation. They do employ, I should say, use a muck pit at the Long Pond Distillery, which this one comes from, which is going to bring in all kinds of extra just esters and congeners and just all kinds of gunky stuff to the fermentation process, which is not burned off terribly because this is going to be a pot still process, which is much more gentle than a column still, which can
And lasts longer?
which can take a lot more.
Yeah.
What lasts longer?
Does the pot still process last longer than a column still?
That's a good question. I honestly don't know. I don't. It might.
I think it
just
heats up
depends.
slower.
We've lasted a little too long in this segment, so we got to take a break. When we come back, we want to talk more about this rum before we move on because this is so interesting.
Right on.
And we have more beers to taste, and drinking news will be coming up in our second hour. This is Smoking and Toast. Welcome Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. We're in hour 2 of show number 416. Dox is our guest, Greg Doxakis with Planteray Rum. And I wanted to come back and talk some more about this because we have not talked enough about how unusual and wonderful this rum is. When I say unusual, I just mean it hasn't been completely smoothed out for like the casual drinker. This is more to me like a serious rum drinker's rum with the funk. Would you agree?
I would agree, but that's the thing though. I don't think that's unusual. I think that's very usual for a well-made rum. I don't want to say well-made. A
highly crafted, perhaps.
Highly crafted, of course, yes. But this one is very much so unplugged, if you will.
Okay.
You'll notice the lightness in the color.
Right.
That means there has not been much, if any, caramel coloring added to it. I don't know how much caramel coloring is added to it. That's one of the things that we typically don't put on there because it doesn't mean anything. It's an aesthetic.
Doesn't have anything to do with the flavor.
Doesn't change the flavor. Doesn't change the anything, the odor whatsoever. It's just about continuity of color of product. And since this one is a single cask, and just by that paleness, I'm guessing there was none put in there. But it's not even that old. This thing was distilled in 2017 and put in a barrel in 2017, bottled last year. It's only a 7-year-old rum. Now,
it does say it was matured for 8 months in Kentucky bourbon oak.
that is true. But here's the thing, though. That's sort of a sandwich here. Keep in mind, all Planteray rums are going to be aged in typically bourbon oak in its native country. Then it makes that long journey back to France to get aged longer in our Ferron cognac casks. That's everything under the name of Planteray, except our coconut cousin from Barbados, the cut and dry. That one is going to be Barbados only. It does not make the journey. But this one does, like the rest of them, but with our single casks, which we are ironically named because there's usually 3 casks involved, we are always going to have a tertiary aging process of a third style of cask. And this one, we're putting it in rum. Now we're going to put it in bourbon, we're going to put it in cognac, and we're going to put it back in that rum. All right. So, no dosage on this one. All right, it's very much so frowned upon and practically against the law in Jamaica.
Yeah,
there's someone right there says it is against the law. Anyway, so no dosage on this one whatsoever. Like I said, all pot still. This one has decently long fermentation. It's those every little thing that makes that gives Jamaican rum, funky rum, that funk.
Now we love the funky rums here on the show, but Ian, I'm curious. Between this rum and the last one, which had some funk but wasn't nearly as funky as this.
The last one,
which one like hits your palate better?
Incredibly interesting. It had a lot of different things going for it. This one has the funk. I love the funk.
Yeah.
Like, let me be honest. I think if I was going to pick one, the funk.
Interesting.
Funk.
Yeah. Well, I love them both. The first one I would describe as a more maybe traditional rum. This one is just more that wonderful Jamaican style.
This is to like, if the other one is closer to what you think of as a normal rum, I'm using big air quotes on that. This is more like the rye whiskey of the rum. This has got the spice. It's got a little more.
Do I taste apple in there?
Yeah, maybe.
You might.
Yeah.
I just feel like I keep getting a hint of apple.
So,
in that.
Terry, as somebody who is, has less history with rum, which strikes you that you like more, the first one that we had or this one?
I really liked the first one. I think that one, I like them both. I have to say they're very both, and I very both good, and I think that the very both good. I think
no more rum for Terry.
I are English.
I are English. But I do feel like they both bring their own thing. I like the first one a lot. I like this one. I'd say that I'd pick the first one over the second one, but they're both very good.
I think we should change the title of this week's show from the rating spike to very both good.
Very both good.
Very both good.
I are English.
I are English.
Yeah. Now,
I want to compound something that you're saying here, and I like the fact that you ask which one do you like better, because one of our missions here at Planteray is a demonstration of the
variety,
the variety, but more the diversity of terroir of rum. That is to say, that rum is going to taste different, not just on how it's made, but also where it's made. And we're very fortunate that we have the largest largest distillery in Barbados, the West Indies Rum Distillery. We have 2 in Jamaica in partnership with the Jamaican government. One is Long Pond, the other one is Clarendon. But we get rum from all over the globe, as you saw from that last land selection. But it all gets back to France. It gets that extra aging, that continental aging in the cognac barrels, which puts our fingerprints on it and makes it our rum. So we're very proud of the fact that we get to use that as a demonstration how different each one of these rums are.
Right, yeah.
There's so many different colors on the palate.
And they really are. As somebody that's tried a lot of the different rum offerings from other rum distillers, and some of which are very, very good, nobody has quite the diversity of flavors and styles that you guys seem to have.
I'd agree with that.
This one has kind of a bit of a stripped down finish to it too that I really enjoy. If the other one's highly produced, this is more of a garage band, and I kind of like it. It's a little more raw. It's a little more
garage
real
funk
tasting.
band is what it is.
Dude, that is an excellent analogy. I'm totally stealing it.
Yes,
You'll get no royalties other than whatever rum I leave you with today. But that's stolen.
And I got to say, I feel like you've been fairly compensated.
Yeah, exactly.
I really do.
I want to say one more thing about this before we move on. Now we got on to the beer. You'll notice the initials here, VRW. That is the initials. I don't know his middle name, but that's for Vivian Wisdom. Vivian Wisdom is he's pretty much our Jamaican rum godfather. He's pretty much the head of all Jamaican projects for us.
He's got a badass name.
He does.
Yeah. I want to party with him. That's all I have to say.
He is a sweet guy. He's got a very Harry Belafonte air about him. Not just because he's Jamaican, but just his tone, his voice, and everything. And we're proud to have him on board. Yeah, because he used to actually work with. I'm not familiar with that one. He used to work for Hamden, I think, once back in the day. So what that is, that's his initials, and that's sort of a tradition. A lot of times with Jamaican pot still rums that are limited runs, you'll see some sort of initials that might either be the distiller or someone else that was involved in production or whatever thing that just lets you know that, hey, okay, that's where this came from. ITP, HJC, I can think of some of past of our other extremes, but just, you know it by the initials.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Tavern Cut.
VJW?
VRW.
VRW. Okay.
Tavern Cut. Citra and Vic Secret hopped Double India Pale Ale.
Now, I don't know how this is going to go after the rum. I have to be really honest. I have not tasted
it. Smells, fruity and stuff.
So here's the interesting part. It's not that bad.
After the rum.
After the rum. It's not the perfect pairing.
Right.
It's not that bad, actually.
It's not that bad. I agree with you.
I think it brings out a little of it brings out a little brightness out of the hops a little bit. It's an interesting thing. I think the beer is sweeter than the initial taste of it because of the rum we just drank. But I think after a few sips, you'll dig right into it.
So,
Hop Butcher for the World tasting notes are almost impossible to read.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not an easy can to read from. I will say, though, Vic Secret is a very interesting and almost like in-your-face kind of hop. It's not a mellow hop at all.
No, but it's also bright. It's also got a very... I don't know how else to describe it. It's not a dark, warm flavor. It's a bright kind of in-your-face flavor, like you were saying.
I had a friend of mine, a musician who is from Brooklyn, that his artist name is Vic Thrill, which stood for Vicarious Thrill. Vic, Vicarious Thrill. So I think of that whenever I think of Vic Secret. Then he should have named himself Vic Secret. He would have gotten free publicity on these.
This is juicy and a little bit ridiculous. I think it's a little bitter on the end. It's pretty interesting, though. Yes. I bet it goes well. They have a picture of a pizza. A Tavern Cut slice of pizza. Which it's interesting because you can see a pepperoni on his forehead and a pepperoni on his chin. Hey, but is the nose actually a nose or is it a pepperoni?
Let he who has never had a pepperoni on his forehead cast the first stone. Okay, right. I just want to say it. That's.
I mean, if you've never had a pepperoni on your forehead, come on.
I'm just saying. I want to mention, by the way, that I saw Doc's getting out another bottle of rum, so naturally I wanted to make sure my glass was ready to receive said rum. So after
I
drinking the
think
beer,
he poured too much of the last rum in the mic. No, I can't finish this sentence. I'm just joking.
after drinking the beer, I went back to the rum to polish it off, thinking this will probably be a disaster, and it wasn't. Like you said, not a perfect pairing, but it didn't bother me at all. Like it was actually pretty good. Going back and forth.
Interesting.
Did I go too heavy on you that last time?
No.
What are you talking about, Willis?
No. You
hold on.
You made him
hold
go
on.
straight different strokes over there.
Bro.
But I went the whitest version of different
you
strokes
beat me to
ever.
it. You beat me to it. I say, what is that your boy mentioning about young Willis? What are you
say-
peddling on about?
I say, that's good. That's really, really good. Well, I just don't know if it rings true when I say what you talk about, Willis. Like, really?
Yeah.
It's not something I would say.
It's
right?
dated a little bit, but
Be more like,
come on.
I say, Willis.
Tavern, I
What
bet
is that
this.
you're
I bet
mentioning?
this is. I bet this particularly good.
Yeah.
Right from the tap as
was-
well.
Oh, I bet it is. Hot Butcher for the World is out of Chicago, Illinois.
I bet
That is the name of
if
the
they serve
brewery.
it with a really good Chicago pizza,
Oh, yeah. A little Chicago
kind of want a
style pizza.
Chicago pizza right now.
Now we need to do
kinda
like a
do, too.
pizza and beer show
The
pairing.
thick crust,
Have
with
pizza on the
crispy
show and pair
around
it
the
with beer.
edge.
Pizza and beer. Pizza and beer.
There's a little bit left in there, by the way.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Thank you. I will. You're right. He has a big pepperoni on his
he'll
forehead.
give it a good home.
But
yeah.
is the nose a pepperoni? That's
I
the
think it
question.
is. Yeah.
Remember, if your beer's cold, your beer's cold.
He also has a
Take it.
mustache, and I don't know that I've ever had a pizza with a mustache.
Yeah, that alarms me.
Well,
a
maybe
little.
if I left it in the
It
fridge
could
too
be
long.
anchovies.
Could be anchovies. That's exactly what I was about to
Italian
say.
sausage.
Hold it up.
Sausage. All right, I'll pour a little more of that. Docs has brought out another. Do we have time for
We got
another?
time?
We've got 2 minutes.
Sure. We got 2 minutes.
minutes.
Well, that'll get us started.
I've done worse work in 2 minutes. Just ask Mrs. Doxakis. All right, here we go.
But I'm ching. But there you go.
There it
It's
is.
the only rim shot we have here on the show. I think actually,
That was
Ian,
worth that one.
Ian, if we can manage to pick up one more affiliate, I think we will splurge and get a drummer whose only job it will be is to sit in the back corner and rim shot at the right point.
No,
in
but
time.
that was more like breaking news. This just in, Dox is something smartass.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wait.
So, did we need one more over there? Yep, I believe we did. All right, so Docs, you are leading us down a path of rum, and this one takes us to
This
Paraguay.
one, so
Paraguay.
this one smells of wood,
You're
Like-
not wrong.
big time wood, and
Got
there's a sweetness, almost a banana like.
Yeah.
well, you got some definitely some baking spice on the nose. There's much more spice, and this is
I am
going,
picking up the banana, though, too.
for sure. This is a column still. This one, oh man, I'm going to cheat here a little bit. I forget what the tertiary aging is. Okay, so no, this is actually, okay, wow. This is going to be bourbon cask, 3 years in a bourbon cask,
Yes.
1 year in Ferron cask, and it's going to be matured for 1 year in Cairo rye cask.
What a wonderful
cask.
What a wonderful rum this is.
Yeah.
And that
This is
amazing.
just amazing.
Really. Really is.
I'm so fascinated by the nose on this. I haven't even tasted it yet.
Almost,
but you'll love
almost zero funk, but what a smooth and delicious blend of flavors. This is outstanding.
Amazing.
I would not say there's any funk in this whatsoever.
All right.
No.
All right, so if the last one was the garage band, this is like the best wedding band. Like this one has its stuff together.
Is it the best wedding band with that drummer that does
I get banana in this.
Oh,
You
yeah.
get banana?
Yeah.
for sure
The
banana.
Dan band.
Like this is not just me. It's very tropical.
We'll
to me.
we'll
Very-
talk about this. I'm thinking a string quartet, but we'll be back and talk more about this in just a moment. It's Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. One of our favorite guests is with us today, the Spikey FOTS himself, Mr.
Oh, I thought you were talking
Doxakis.
about Mary over there.
Yeah, well, she's one of my favorite guests. I can tell you that. Yeah. I'll go there.
She guests.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a part yet.
Mary's very quiet. She's just chilling in the
This is like the
studio.
world's longest audition. Mary, there's other roles out there.
Trust me, she's hired. So, guys, we have been
Cerveza.
We have been talking. Well, before we get there, I just want to go back to this Paraguay 2019 rum, matured 1 year in a Cairo rye whiskey cask. Docs, what does this bottle sell for?
Quit asking me questions. I don't like it when you ask me questions I don't have the answer. It makes me look bad.
If you had to guess,
If I had to guess, no, okay. No, it's around that $60 range. They're all going to be around the same
that's
range.
fantastic for that price range. This is just
This is divine.
this rivals some rums that I've had that are in the $100 price range in my mind.
Yeah,
This
they're not
is
that
fantastic.
expensive. I mean, I know what. Before the show is over, I'm going to go back over the pricing and I'm going to give the price on each one of these. Let's be in that range.
Such a beautiful softness and roundness to the beginning
Yes.
of this on the palate. There's almost a butteriness in the middle of the in the middle of the palate, and then it finishes with this woody note that's just.
It's beautiful.
Would you say butterscotch? I get butterscotch on the nose.
I could get
big
butterscotch.
time.
And there's a banana note underlying the whole thing.
It's beautiful, like
but
a
in the
butterfly.
best possible way, like in the way that an actual banana tastes, not like
Right, not like banana flavoring.
got
not
apple
banana
in the-
flavored.
I got apple in the last one and then banana in this one. So yeah, there is at least some
Like,
sort of.
have you ever had like banana nut ice cream? It tastes like
Yes.
nut, but it does not taste like banana.
Well, someone brought in banana bread earlier.
Yeah, now that tastes like banana.
Quite
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. Like I said, Mary's hired. I'm just saying, she's already passed the test.
So I'm going back to Cerveza now, the very first beer
Okay.
that we had on the show.
Yes,
Because
Oh,
it
right.
was brought
Yeah.
to it was brought
Well,
Doxakis brought it up that as soon as it gets warm it may taste terrible. And I have had beers like that. Budweiser talking to you. Let's see here. It
Well, I
still
know-
smells good.
any of the Bud beers like the Bud
It's
Light
still
Lime,
oh geez.
the
Do
warmer
not
they get,
drink 'em
the
warm.
worse they get.
Do not drink them warm. Like you can palate them when they're ice cold, but you're gonna have to drink them. Maybe even shotgun. Listen, don't try this at home. We're professionals, okay? So I'm just putting out like the way I would treat these beers.
Right.
Beers being in quotation marks. But here, so B52 Brewing Cerveza. This is beer with lime and salt. Now it's completely room temperature.
Yeah.
I might like it better.
Wow.
Oh.
That's a
I
surprise.
actually might like it better.
That's a surprise because I would have guessed it would definitely lose some points.
Yeah.
No,
Once it
I
warmed
think
up.
I might actually like it
May
better
I?
than when it was super cold.
I've already dump bucketed mine. May I try that? Sorry, thank you very much.
It actually,
I'll be
I
interested
think
to see if he agrees with you.
it totally stands up 100%.
Docs?
I don't hate it. The flavor, the flavor's not so the citrus flavor's not so bold. That's not a bad thing. It actually almost sort of kind of evens out a little bit.
Yeah,
All right, so we need to get the B52 guys on the show so we can talk about this.
I'm going to work on that.
All right, yeah, let's definitely try to
Can
do
we
that.
get the breaking news thing?
Oh, you want
I have
the
breaking news.
You want the,
I have
okay.
breaking
All
news.
right, here we go. All right, here
Breaking
we go.
news, ladies and
This just in from the specs desk here. The land selection that we tried earlier is $79.99 cash price.
That was
over
the
on
first
one.
Okay.
Over there, it's on store number 0 there on Smith Street. The Jamaican 2017 that we tried before was $59.99.
Okay.
That's the cash price.
Yeah.
Cash
Right,
is
right.
king. And the one that we're enjoying right now, the Paraguay 2019, is $59.99.
Dude,
You know,
smoking and toasting directly influencing sales.
yeah,
That's all that
exactly. And I have to say that remember we mentioned last week there was a $50 jump off point that people are a little scared to go over.
Right.
And I know for me, for rum, since I wasn't always thinking of it for anything other than mixing in a drink or mixing in something
Sure.
a daiquiri, that I over $50, if I didn't know what I was getting into, I'm very very trepidations about that, but this is absolutely worth it. This
Totally.
is 100%.
This one is divine.
This is what all of these rums. This is what it's supposed to be, and now I have seen that.
And just one more thing on this guy, the triple finish on this one was a Cairo rye cask. I hope I'm saying that right, Cairo.
So what is Cairo?
It's a Finnish rye whiskey. Finnish.
Okay.
We do a lot of what we do call the barrel exchange.
Not finished, but Finnish, as
Finnish,
in from
as
Finland.
in, as in the Finns, the Finlands,
Right.
yes. We like to do, Alexander likes to do a barrel exchange with, and he likes to seek out people or distillers like himself who like to kind of do new things and color outside of the lines and that sort of thing. So we have a huge partnership with Mac Myra, Swedish single malt. We've had it for years, and we've used a lot of their casks. And now we're using these guys. That's what I love about it. Is like when I first heard Cairo, I'm like, who? Finnish rye. I'm sorry, the Finnish rye whiskey. Okay, but just who knew? You know what I mean?
Right.
Who'd have thunk it?
Well, the Finnish are very laid back people.
Our English.
Just
this is
so I love the idea that they're just like hanging out, making whiskey. Works for me.
Since it's winter for such a long time, it'd be cool. Make some rye whiskey.
Right. If we were to do that here, we'd have to make rye whiskey in like 3 days. And it would be this week,
Yeah, because we're in Texas, though, we'd only have to age it for like a year to get
That's
7
true.
years of age on
That's true. So there are advantages.
it. A couple hurricanes come through by that point in time, it's already aged.
Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, there are.
It'll rock the rick house.
Yeah.
This one, this is tough. This one's so different from the last one, like so incredibly different from the last one. I don't know if I like it better than the last one or if I like it as much as the last one. Like it's so close, but it's also so amazingly different. Mm-hmm. You're giving me that look.
I think I like it the
Just
best.
pick a side, man. You're all over the place.
I can't. This is amazing.
The rum I like best has a tendency to be
How
the one
did you
I
get
just
married with that fear of commitment,
the one
bro?
I just had. Yeah. I'll tell you how.
My
how
wife
he did
told me I should.
I'll tell you how he did it. He threw the wedding with the best beer of any wedding I'd ever been
My
to.
wedding was literally a party that we interrupted with a ceremony for about 15
okay.
Well,
minutes.
remind me her name.
Tiffany.
Tiffany. I met Tiffany for the first time at the last whiskey social.
Yeah.
And you guys, this is my life. I went, really? This okay? What do you got on her, man?
Dude, at their wedding, there was like drinking beer involved in their vows and stuff.
Yes.
I'm not kidding.
Yes,
I'm not kidding. It actually happened and it was awesome.
If you
Involved
weren't
in their
actually
vows.
drinking beer while you were watching us get married, it was your own fault.
That's right. And by the way, I was there and I was.
People still talk about the wedding and how fun that party was.
Tiffany, you've got a can I would never want to recycle.
We will talk about
I love you,
more
I love
of
you
it.
for always.
We would talk about more of it next. It's Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Those of you watching the video of the program
I
saw
was supposed to do
Ian and
this.
me, just holding up our rum as
Looking
if we.
at the gorgeous color
As
of
if we
this.
were somehow discerning in this area. So all we know is we taste it and we go, rum good.
I'm discerning. I will generally drink it out of the glass.
All right, so I know you're pouring there, but as soon as you're done pouring the Hoppin Frog Oatmeal Stout, I'm going to ask
Dude,
you to
this
grab.
just stained my pants.
and I'm
Oops,
yeah,
I stained my pants.
yeah. So yeah, that's not the first time you've said
I
that on
smell a
the show.
t-shirt.
So as soon as
Says
you're
the
done,
man with a sticker.
as soon as you're done pouring, pick that ukulele up, my friend, because it's time
Uh-oh.
for drinking.
Rushing
news.
around. You got to pass these around while I'm doing this.
We can do that.
Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. A Florida man with one arm said he had a gator for a pet. When asked about his absent arm, he said,
Oops, I stained my pants. And I got to take my gator to the vet.
drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. I can't work. Nobody said you can improvise.
It rhymed. Like, that's the thing.
Well. We've met, right?
Listen,
Were you not here for the first segment?
It's like when you do enough inside jokes, all you do is you make the listeners out there go, I have no idea what they're talking about.
Sorry about that.
I should listen to this show more often so I will be in the know.
There's a whole chateau.
Inside the
There's
joke?
a whole chateau of people in France right now going, tell us about it. You know?
So our main story today is the tale of a shameless couple who worked together to commit a crime a week or so before Christmas. And at least we can say that our crooks came up with a unique plan to work together to pull off their heist. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd says that the pair each, and I'm quoting here, played different roles as they conspired in their retail theft. Very different roles. The man seemed obsessed with stealing cleaning products, while the woman
Es fabuloso.
kind of did the opposite. A Florida man
Florida man.
and a Florida woman
Florida.
entered the Family Dollar store in Mulberry, Florida.
Family. These happen a lot in the Family Dollar stores. Come on.
Yeah.
Florida family.
Family Dollar store in Mulberry, Florida, where they executed their plan with reckless abandon. The Florida man strolled through the aisles, loading his cart with Tide, Clorox, and other cleaning supplies,
Oh, that is loaded.
along with a case of Natural Light.
It's good to hear that they're
Natty
cool
Light.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sorry if you're about to do some sort of crime. I'm assuming some sort of crime is about to happen. If you're about to do some sort of crime, Natty Light is what you choose.
Yeah, right.
If you're criming, that's what you do.
When did the dollar store get beer? Out of Florida.
That's in Florida.
Family Dollar in Florida. Yeah.
Oh,
Florida
I
Family
suppose there's
Dollar.
that then.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like if you live in Texas, when you drive and you cross into Louisiana, you cross the state line into Louisiana, stop at the first convenience store. And it's basically a liquor store with a gas pump outside.
Yeah, 100%.
Every store. You can go to KB Toys in Louisiana. There's a line of liquor behind the counter that you can buy.
Not in Texas.
But back to Florida. Our Florida man strolled through the aisles, loading his cart with Tide, Clorox, and other cleaning supplies, along with a case of Natty Light, until he had amassed what Family Dollar employees estimate was about $500 worth of items.
At Family Dollar?
Family Dollar.
So to take just a moment to assess this, because I feel like here at Drinking News, we must ask the obvious question. How in the hell do you fit $500 worth of stuff into one cart at a dollar store?
Can I say something that's just wrong on this? But
Sure.
there is no such thing as a dollar store anymore. Anything that says it's a dollar, it's
it's a
not.
lie.
It's
It's a lie.
they're all all over the place in prices now.
But seriously, how many jugs of bleach, tiny cans of out-of-date soup?
I wouldn't have thought that they would have had that much bleach and Tide at the store, at all.
Well, and of course, pieces of cheap-ass plastic jewelry. How many of those, though, are going to fit into one cart to total $500? But apparently, that is what he did. And then came the nefarious part of our Florida duo's crime. The man slipped right out the front doors with his cart without paying, while his partner created a distraction.
Oh, what'd she do?
By
There's a disturbance in
pooping
the-
on the floor of the Family Dollar.
I was way off in what I was thinking.
Yeah. Security footage caught the Florida woman taking a massive dump in one of the aisles where shoppers and employees looked on in horror, and then she strode out of the store behind her co-conspirator with what cops described as a smug look on her face.
So she did this.
Oh yeah, I did that.
Did she wipe?
This isn't one of those where she did it so
That
she
just leaves so many questions.
Yeah, no, she did it where people were actually seeing. Like she had to get people's attention.
Yeah,
this wasn't
right.
something
'Cause it was
off in the corner.
designed
It
to
was
be a distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was like, "Hey," and then just like,
Hey everybody, watch this.
Wow.
Did she hike?
Watch this.
I assume she was wearing a skirt and
Hold my
hiked it up.
finger.
One would assume, yes. The employees were so stunned.
Oh, my Natty Light.
The employees were so stunned by the woman's load of crap that the couple was able to stuff their load of stolen supplies into a white Ford van and speed away.
It gave him that much time. The whole basket worth of stuff. He had plenty of time, and she had time to catch
that
up
is
to
a
him.
steaming pile if they stared at it for that long.
They were absolutely stunned. They were. Police who have nicknamed
I ate my fiber yesterday.
By the way, you can't make this stuff up. Police who have nicknamed the couple
Want to?
Mr. Clean and Ms. Dookie are still looking for the crapsters, and they have established a tip line for anyone who might know their whereabouts, but as yet,
I want to
You've
point out.
deserved your own tip line?
yeah.
I want to point out that maybe it wasn't as planned as you think. Maybe he knew what was going to happen because that's what happens at home,
Could be.
which is why he bought all the cleaning supplies.
No, that could be. Or stole all the cleaning supplies.
Stole.
Yeah. Police are still looking for them. They've established a tip line, as I said, for anyone who might know their whereabouts. But as yet, the couple seems to have gotten away clean.
Nobody recognizes her crap, huh?
Well, maybe not clean, but you get the idea. Yeah. Now, as many of you know, whenever we feature a story like this here on Drinking News, I often find it to be rather inspiring. And no, it doesn't inspire me to release the Kraken in the aisle of a Family Dollar. That's not what I mean. I mean that it often inspires me to write poetry or prose. And today's story has even moved me to come up with a song to the tune of one by the greatest band of all time, the Beatles. And so, with apologies to Paul McCartney and John Lennon, as well as the rest of the known universe, I'd like to share that with you now. Ian, could you give me a little Get Back in the key of G? And it goes a little something like this. Here's the story of a crime in Old Polk County. 2 crooks in a white Ford van. The perps had rolled up on Mulberry's Family Dollar, Florida woman and Florida man. Get back, get back, get back, you're causing all this stress. Get back, get back, get back and clean up all your mess. Working as a team to steal some Tide and Clorox, he slipped past the checkout queue. And she did her part by causing a distraction on aisle 7, going number 2. Get back, get back. For workers, it is like abuse. Get back to clean up where you dropped a deuce. But then they got away, and now they are quite famous to cops, both vet and rookie. They're still on the loose, and all the cops are looking for Mr. Clean and Miss Dookie. Get back, get back. Do not think that we forgot. Get back, that she dropped it like it's hot. Get back, Miss Dookie. Reporting live from Mulberry, Florida, we're hearing the phrase, clean up on aisle 7, has already caused several Family Dollar employees to immediately resign. My name is Cruz, and that is your
Drinking news.
Nice key change.
That's our time for drinking news. Yeah, you got to have that in your head before
Yes,
you're going to do the key change like that. That's a whole step down. That's not exactly. That's not exactly easy.
See how inspired I was? Yeah.
That was pretty. I didn't know we were going that long. You were like, just let him get back. Usually you'd be like a line or two. I didn't know we were doing the whole song.
Well, I had to work out. You know what the hardest part of that inspiration was? Finding something that rhymed with Dookie.
I had to learn that George Harrison lick.
Yeah. By the way, for next week's show, could you learn While My Guitar Gently Weeps?
I'll do it.
Or I should say While My Ukulele Gently Weeps.
Ukulele gently.
Special thanks to our instrumentalist, who's doing such a great job here on the show.
That guy's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he really keeps us from having to pay those royalties.
Yeah. So are we going beer first or rum first? Here?
Try to make that match the song.
Right. Exactly. Right. Yeah. Even AI couldn't match that up. You know, like source unknown.
It was just enough.
So are we going rum first or
so here's the thing. Like right before I had to do that thing that you just heard.
Notice how he said had to do that.
Before you had to jump
I
out.
actually took a sip of the rum. The rum is delicious. And then I took a sip of the beer, and they actually kind of
all right. So let's go back to rum. This is my first taste of this. This is the Fiji Island 2004. Now I will just mention your Isle of Fiji rum, your regular, $32 rum. That is just, wonderful. I hate that the price has gone up a little bit. We never should have told you how great it was that it was.
We should have said nothing.
Inexpensive, but still, even at its current price, it's one of the best. It's one of the best spirits you can buy.
From
for
now
that
on,
money.
you'll only know we really love something if we tell you how bad it is. That way, the price never goes up.
It's great, but I wouldn't pay another $1 for it.
All right, Docs. I just took my first sip.
Docs has the look
Sip.
on his face.
I'm still processing the drinking this, guys.
I know. The whole time I was watching his face, and it was just like he was like, "This is the one that I came on. This show.
Right,
this
right.
is the
This is
drinking news that's
this
going to
is
be on my
happening
show."
right
If we had told Docs that I would be singing on this program, he never would have brought the rum.
No. Listen,
He'd be,
the
I'll
singing,
come next
that was,
Once
I'm
Once
so,
he heard Dookie on the Family
Well,
Dollar floor, I think it.
I'm fascinated and revolted at the
his
same
life.
time, obviously. But so many questions come to mind. It's, I don't know, like I travel a lot, and I know what it's like when you're not in your home base. Sometimes it's hard to get things done, right?
Yeah.
So was just a fortuitous happenstance that she needed to let one go?
No,
Or
no,
is
no.
she just that
No,
good?
this was
Premeditated
She controls, you know what?
pooping.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's one of my. It says it on a resume. You can go crap whenever you need to. That's right.
Here's the thing, though. I think the
Who
way
on
I think it
demand?
went was like 20 minutes before. If you would have seen them, it'd have been like, "Hey, hon, okay, it's time. Let's go."
Yeah, they're sitting in the parking lot waiting.
They're sitting in the parking lot.
She's just eating beans.
By the way, I think that my
Drinking
most,
coffee, eating beans.
I think
This
my
is gonna
most,
happen.
Smoking a cigarette.
I think my most genius line in that whole song was "On aisle 7, going number 2."
Yeah.
To me,
Man,
that
I was hanging on. I was
peak-
just
peak
hanging
of the
on the
song.
whole time.
And on that, hey, we're going to end it on a high note, guys. Thanks for coming to Smoke and Toast. Good night, everybody. Drive safe. All right, so this is the Fiji
Docs,
Islands.
this is incredible.
Amazing.
So this is the Fiji Islands 2004. This one is going to be column still, zero dosage, quite an older rum. 17 years in the bourbon cask. I'm going to cheat a little bit right here, guys.
Yeah.
It's got 2 years in the Franc cask, and it's going to spend 1 entire year and some Japanese ume, it's choya, plum wine casks.
Wonderful. It's so good.
And it's just rich.
There's a dark roundness to this one.
The plum wine cast. That's really, that's amazing.
And the thing about Fiji rum, it's our most polarizing rum that we do.
Why is that?
It's just different, man. It's not. First off, it's not what people expect from rums. Because keep in mind, this is not Caribbean. This is on the other
Right.
side of the globe here. And as
Sure.
we said so many times before, rum's going to taste so differently, often by where it's made.
There's no question about that. But to me,
So this one has
both
a
the Isle of
dryness
Fiji-
that the other ones don't actually quite have. Actually, your very first one had some of this dryness to it. This one has a dryness that the other two rums that we tried does not have at all.
It's for me. I'm still kind of. You know what's so funny? I can smell from right here. And I use a lot of Fiji rums. Gummy cola bottles.
I'll go with that, yeah.
Totally. All right, we got to talk more about this. We got to talk more about a beer, which we haven't tried yet. And we're going to try whatever this surprise gin that you brought is, all in a very short segment to close out the show. So very excited about trying to do all of that. But challenge accepted. We'll be right back at Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits and hand-rolled
Why do you always
cigars.
start talking when that awesome guitar tone comes?
Well,
I just don't understand what's happening.
It's important to talk over so people can't notice that he's a little sharp there, the guitar player. We don't want to embarrass
Sharp
him.
as in
We don't
bright,
want
as
to
in
embarrass
quick,
him
as in
here
witty.
on this program. On next week's show, by the way, Ian, who do we have coming on the program next week?
Charlotte Simons is going to be on.
Yeah, what
she
are we gonna be talking
represents
about?
Odell's and High Rise.
Oh, well, that's pretty awesome. And I think that's important because on next week's show, 10 craft brewers, and we'll ask
10.
we'll ask Charlotte this question as well, and we'll talk about it too. We're asked, what's your go-to macro beer? When you got to have a macro,
I don't.
what is your go-to?
My go-to macro beer is Topo Chico.
Okay, I understand. But we'll
My
talk about
go-to
this.
macro beer is whiskey.
All right, we'll talk about this next week. But if you had to pick, you're at somebody's wedding reception, right?
You know,
And they've
I
only
always
got
went
macro beer.
Budweiser. I don't know why. I always
All
went
right,
Budweiser.
We'll talk about all that next week. In the meantime, though, we have something good to talk about, which is how wonderful this rum is. This is just absolutely
rum in my
absolutely
belly.
wonderful rum. This may be my favorite one that you brought. And did you say this is around $60? Is this?
This one actually, I think it's the most expensive one, believe it or not. I think it's something closer to 90.
You have your champagne
I
taste,
down my
sir.
notes.
Honestly, I'm just going to say if it's 90,
I will
do
tell
not
you
think it's overpriced.
The two
is
middle
wonderful.
ones
The
are my
fact that-
favorite. This is divine. The two middle ones are my
So
favorite.
you liked the funk, and what was the other middle
and
one
the
that you liked?
non-funk.
And the non-funk. All right.
The fact that all of this is under $100.
This may
is
be
good.
my favorite. It's
Yeah,
just-
I have breaking news.
Oh,
Dun, dun,
you have,
dun,
okay,
dun,
here we
dun,
go.
dun, 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 dun.
There you go.
Yes, this one is the cash price at Specs is $79.99.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do y'all like the way that I actually hold my
Yes,
hands there and wait for the music to stop?
I'm
As I'm still
pause.
getting information.
Your pause should be slightly more awkward though, because with every news thing, it's always just a touch awkward. How long
But
it
they
takes.
do this. They kind of look up at the ceiling like their notes are on the ceiling.
They do that, yeah, but they put that on their ear so they can hear it, but you have full headphones on here. So
all
it's
I will
awesome
say
because
is-
it really just pushes it's how it's supposed to be.
All I will say is I will be $80 lighter by the time I get home. That's all I have to say. It is what it is. So, all right, Ian, you poured us our final beer of the show, which is
Hoppin'
the
Frog,
Hoppin' Frog
barrel
Brewery.
aged Boris.
And does it explain what Boris actually means on the can? Barrel
Not
aged,
Natasha, but Boris.
barrel aged oatmeal something
Searching
is
for it.
barrel aged oatmeal R Imperial Stout.
A delicious barrel-aged version of our bodacious oatmeal Russian Imperial Stout.
There you go, bodacious oatmeal Russian Imperial Stout.
Yes.
Well-
which is complemented by a wonderful whiskey oak character, a robust hop presence adds a refreshing balance.
Well, this is real good. I mean, I'll just
It's pretty
say,
nice. It actually goes well with the rum as
The
well,
rum, yes, it's a nice pairing.
which I'm out of. So
Yeah. I get that.
Oddly enough, I'm out of this rum as well.
your rums evaporate. You know that, right?
Yeah,
They
evaporative
don't like to
qualities.
stay in the glass.
Why is the
That's
rum
like, no, wait a
gone?
second. We have something new to try, don't we?
What?
Oh yeah, should we try something else?
Oh yeah,
before
we have
move
one
on?
more
We have
thing.
the,
I think you need some cups there,
we
Ian,
have
for
the
this.
bonus feature.
Because
We can do a bonus segment of us just drinking more rum.
and that sure. I don't know how interesting it'll be, but let's do it.
Yeah.
Yes, this is something that's coming out. One might say that we have breaking news on gin right now.
Oh, okay.
So has
This just in.
has your company done a gin before ever?
Never. No. We've never done one before because, quite frankly, what do French people know about making gin? They're stupid, right?
Right.
No, we know.
Citadel.
We're making Citadel for years and
Okay.
decades.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I thought he was setting me up.
Citadel is a
I
good
thought he was
thing.
setting me up for the cheap
I have
pop.
Citadel.
Citadel.
You know, the only thing I can complain about Citadel is that damn tall bottle doesn't always fit on the shelf
True.
I want it
That
to.
was 7 packages ago. Oh my, that's it. I'm out of here. I'm doing Christopher Hart's show. This doesn't even do it anymore.
Yeah,
With better rating than this.
I got to tell you, Christopher Hart doesn't still have a show.
That's what I was saying. He doesn't even have a show anymore.
And he's still got better ratings than we do. I understand this.
Oh, guys.
Why do you think we bring you on? We need those ratings to spike. All right, we only got a couple of minutes left.
I'm making an executive order. I'm bumping Charlotte What's-Her-Face. I'm coming on next week, and we're talking about gin the whole time.
Right, fair enough. Fair enough. It's the gin
Holy
show with
smokes.
Show.
All right, so I don't know if you know this, Cruz, but we do dabble a little bit in cognac. But
Yes,
it is
I do
against
know
the
that.
law to distill cognac in the spring and summer months. So back in 1996, we started doing Citadel Gin. And since then, we have changed the bottle 3 times since 1996, where we now have this clever little fellow there. It's not so tall.
Look at that.
Oh, my
Nice.
God. But this one coming out...
fits in the bar better.
This one coming out very, very soon is Citadel Rouge.
Rouge.
Now rouge is like when you get rosy cheeks.
That's
right?
red.
That's correct. No, it's red for all
Red,
you
yeah.
for all you ugly Americans, as the French like to call us. Of course, it's a sliding scale. But anyway, Rouge.
That's all right. You say that now, but wait till we take over Greenland. You'll be talking a different tune, my friend.
Thank you, Uncle Otis.
Wow. Okay, that's
What is happening here?
I don't know. I just lost my mind for a moment. C. Martin used to say, "Excuse me, lost my mind for a moment." And it worked for him. So,
so. What Rouge is? Rouge was not supposed to come to the United States. It's supposed to be France only.
Oh,
and it
okay.
was not this last October, but the October before. I was in France and stumbled upon it, and just as the French say, just I can't cuss. Can I cuss? Can I use bad language?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I lost my shit, as the French would say, over this one.
Hang on. Terry,
Yeah, write that down.
Terry has to write down where that-
649.
We're going to replace that with the word
'Cause
bubbles.
Okay,
Adam,
you know what?
Adam now has to
Honestly, bro,
to go in
I
and
am
edit that.
so pissed off right now. You're about to run out of ink, okay? But this guy saying we've done gin before. It's like, okay, 659, 657. So,
Dude, this is really good.
yeah, thank you.
What the heck?
Yeah, we know what we're doing. So this one is going to be our traditional Citadel redistilled with berries and rhubarb.
You totally
Ooh,
pick
berries.
up the berries,
you
though.
really
That's
I
the
was
do.
going to
thing.
say rhubarb right
Yeah.
off the first, and I was
Yeah.
afraid
And
to
the best way to
offend you.
describe it is this one tastes red. I know that's
Yeah,
red's not
it
taste,
does.
but that's how it
This is
tastes.
amazing.
It
It's
tastes
so
red.
delicious, and I can't. Anyway, it's coming here now. I bitched enough that it's coming to the United States, and we should have it any day now. Rouge is coming, even though
Love
we've been
it.
doing gin since 1996.
amazing.
Cruiser.
Never mess with another man's
This is an
rhubarb.
outrageous gin.
Never
really
rub
is.
never rub another man's rhubarb.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. There is so much we could say about this show,
Yeah.
but we probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you, Docs, for being on the program. Your rums are wonderful. This gin is wonderful. You totally
What?
pulled a surprise on us in
Gin
the
is
last
so
moment.
good.
Yeah. So thank you for that, Citadel. Check it out, folks, when it comes to you. And never bend another man's rhubarb.
I will
Never
be
rub.
sending a
Never
bottle
rub
of that
another
to my
man's
brother.
rhubarb.
I got it. Okay. Have a great week. We love you all. We'll be back here next week to talk about more ridiculous things. Cheers, y'all.
Cheers, y'all.
I've been told